A stop loss is a risk management tool that you'll find on most exchanges. Simply put, a stop loss automatically closes a trade at the price you set it at. When the stop loss is triggered, it actually sells the token you're trading into a stablecoin, usually USDT. Now let me simplify it for you. When you want to buy Bitcoin, you're thinking the market's going to go up, right? You're going to take your dollars and you're going to go and buy Bitcoin. Now all of a sudden, the price goes against you. It starts to go down and you start to lose dollar value. What would you then do? You'll then go take your Bitcoin and sell it back into dollars, right? To protect yourself. But that means you actually have to be at your computer and you got to be the one pushing and making sure you sell. Now, what happens if you have a system that you can already preset that and it does it actually for you? Now, this is called a stop loss. You'll find this on many different exchanges and I'm going to be showing Bybit as the example for this video. So remember, in order to set a stop loss, you have to buy the token first. So the first thing you do is you're going to jump onto your trading view. You're then going to do your charting and see where do I want to actually buy. And what you're doing is you're putting your risk to reward ratio tool. You've seen that your ratio is more than 1-3, which is a success. And then what it's also going to give you is exactly the area of where you want to put a stop loss. So now let's actually put that stop loss in the actual exchange. So once you have bought your Bitcoin, you're then looking to protect that Bitcoin. Remember, you've taken dollars now and you bought the Bitcoin at a specific price. You're expecting it to go up. Now, if the price goes down, you want to protect those dollars. So you got a certain amount of risk that you've calculated. So it means that you actually, if it goes wrong to a certain point, it must sell you back out of the Bitcoin back into dollars. So that means you will be under the sell column over here. Below that, you'll see a TP and SL. TP will be on the buy side, stop loss will be on the sell side. I will teach take profits on the next episode. But what it means is if you click this column and on the sell side, this is how you are selecting a stop loss. Now, if you go below that, you will see the amount of Bitcoin that you have. You'll see a trigger price, an order price, quantity, and then you'll see this little column over here. Now, this is where you're going to select the type of stop loss that you want. Now, remember, you get two different types of stop losses. You get a limit version and you get a market version, and you can see the different two over here. So I'm going to show you how to actually put both. So if you select on the limit, what this does for you is it actually creates a range. You're trying to put an exact price that you wanted to sell it at. But remember, in order to sell, you need someone to buy. And sometimes the price may go so fast that it may not hit your number that you want exactly. So this allows you to actually set a range of stop losses so that if it misses the exact area that you want, it will still make sure it gets you out anywhere in the range that you've actually set. So if you look over here, the first one you'll see is a trigger price. Now the trigger price is the one that you've set as this original area of your stop loss. So for example, it's 18,800. So if I go over here, I want to set this as 18,800. Now what it's asking for next is an order price. And now order price is basically telling you the bottom range, the bottom layer of your actual range that you want to set. So 18,800 is the first part. What's the bottom part of that range? And I like to use about 0.5% for this. So for example, this will be around 18,600. So this order number, the order price over here, will always be lower than this one over here. And that's creating that range for you. Then what you're selecting next is the quantity of Bitcoin. So I'm going to be using 100% as an example. Now remember what happens here is I am basically setting a limit order that is a hidden order. And the reason why it's hidden, because if it was sitting over here, someone would just buy it. They'll be like, oh wow, this guy's selling his Bitcoin for 18,800. So it actually hides the order. Only if the price of Bitcoin actually goes to that 18,800 that you have set, then the order will go live. And then someone can then buy it at that point. So it's there to protect you, to make sure you don't go into instant loss. So now you will make sure that your quantity is on 100% and you'll click the sell BTC button over here. Then what it's going to give you, this is where you can double check the order that you're setting. A trigger price, 18,800. Make sure that your order price is in there as well, the amount of Bitcoin and the order value. Then you'll click the sell BTC button. Once you have clicked on that, it's going to bring up an order at the bottom under the current order section over here, and you'll see it under TP and SL orders. This is where you'll always see your different stop losses and when they're actually set. You'll see it will then bring a bar. It'll tell you it's Bitcoin, it will tell you the amount of Bitcoin, and it will tell you your trigger price and your order price, and it will say untriggered. And if this price over here goes down to that area and it goes through, it will then say triggered, and your order then basically your Bitcoin will sell into USDT. Now let's go back in here quickly and see what was the percentage. The percentage is 2.3% of your capital. So if this does go against you and this stop loss does actually get triggered, you'll basically lose 2.3% of the USDT, and then it will give you your dollars back and you can then take the next trade. Now let me show you the second stop loss option, which is the market one. So if you come over here and you select the market and you click on that, what it basically gives you is similar to the limit, but it's giving you a trigger price, and that's all that it needs. It doesn't need an order price. Reason being is this one is not setting a range. This one gets you out as soon as possible, and it takes the nearest buyer at whatever trigger price that you actually put in. So we know that we have set our stop loss and we want our stop loss to go at $18,800. So I'll put that in over there. I'll then select the percentage, which is 100%, and I can click on sell BTC. And what it asks me is the trigger price of 18,800. If the price of Bitcoin goes to that level, sell me out to any guy that is near there as soon as possible. And it's the amount, the quantity, and then click the sell BTC button. And you'll see under the orders what it will actually do. It will show you the trigger price. It will show you it's a market price. And like I said, if it hits there, it will get you out back into dollars. Now, let me show you the power of a stop loss and why we actually use them. Sometimes the market can turn on you very quickly. And I want to show you this previous example and trade that I actually took. Now, I thought Bitcoin was going to go up at this area. So I bought it at $22,000, $22,200. And I thought it was going to go to $24,000. So my risk to reward ratio was basically sitting to a 1 to 5 because I was going to put a stop loss at 22,000. So I was risking 1.4% of my capital for a possible 8% return. Okay. Now what happened was it started going up and then it fell. And what it did is it actually triggered my stop loss at 22,000. And then what happened, the price went way below where I actually bought previously. And I thought, I got stopped out. I'm quite annoyed. But then I realized, oh, wow, by me getting stopped out previously actually makes my next trade bigger. And let me show you why. Now I'm buying in this area over here where I'm buying at basically $19,200, which is $2,000 cheaper than where I was buying previously. What does that do for me? What happens if Bitcoin goes back to that 22 or 24,000? My gains are a lot bigger now than what they were if I bought at the $22,000 mark. And you could see my previous risk to reward ratio was a 1 to 5. And now all of a sudden, if I set my stop loss at that area and I set my TP at around 22,000, if I set at 24, it's way higher, but I'm going to use 22,000 as the example. Now I'm sitting on a 1 to 6 ratio. Now what happens if Bitcoin goes to 24,000? All of a sudden, my risk to reward ratio is sitting on a 1 to 10. So moral of the story and what I'm trying to actually express here is by me getting stopped out and taking a 1.4% loss on my last trade actually set me up for getting an extra 12% on the next trade to the upside. So I sacrificed a little bit of my capital for the loss, but my next trade was bigger and ended up making me a lot more cash. And that is the power of the stop loss. So now you understand how to set a stop loss. So the first thing you do is you jump on your trading view, you calculate where do I want to buy the token, then you will calculate what your risk is going to be. You then set your stop loss in. And one thing that's very important, do not move the stop loss once you have set it. You have calculated the risk for that trade and you now understand the power of a stop loss, that if it goes wrong and it triggers, you're losing and sacrificing a little bit of your portfolio for that loss. But what it does is it sets you up for the next trade, which ends up giving you way more profits. And if you can learn to run this as a system and stay disciplined, you'll become an extremely powerful trader. So you now understand the power of the risk to reward ratio. I've now shown you how to apply the risk. Now I'm going to show you how to apply the reward by showing you how to actually take profits.